Well, the World Bank says Nigerian banks are ranked fifth globally among beneficiaries of development procurement, with local suppliers securing over 6,800 World Bank finance contracts worth more than $2.5 billion in the past 5 years. Speaking at a business opportunities seminar in Lagos, World Bank Vice President Gallina Vincelette says over 60% of the contracts were for infrastructure projects, highlighting the growing competitiveness of Nigerian firms both at home and across Africa. Now, joining me to discuss this further is Gallina Vincelette, Vice President of Operations, Policy and Country Services at the World Bank. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Arise Exchange.
Thank you for having me here. Pleasure.
You're welcome. Now, let's start first of all with the fact that you hosted a business outreach event in Lagos. What was it about, and why is the World Bank bringing together such large number of businesses?
Sure. The business opportunities event, or the business outreach event we hosted in Lagos just a couple of days ago, was about opening the door wider to Nigerian firms as well as to international firms, so that they can understand, they can compete, and they can ultimately participate in bank finance procurement opportunities. And indeed, the turnout was fantastic. We had over 200 Nigerian companies in the room with us. Online, we had over 250 from Nigeria as well as from neighboring countries. Even we had connections from Europe. So the interest was quite notable, which is great. But to give you a little bit of a sense of scale of what it is that actually we offer. So currently we have 1,500 active investment opportunities projects that are under implementation globally, which is around 40,000 contracts on average, procurement contracts on average, that we offer every year. So the scale is actually quite large.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. If you put this in perspective, in Nigeria here, our portfolio, the size of our portfolio is $16.5 billion, and we invest across the variety of sectors, which gives you a sense of this business opportunity, which is present here for the private sector in Nigeria. So to deliver at scale, given the size of the portfolio in Nigeria, we need the private sector, and this was the very reason why we held the event in Lagos a couple of days ago, and we tried to really demystify what it is to work with the World Bank, and basically point to the resources, to our website, but also lay out the opportunities and the way we work here in Nigeria, but also in the rest of the world. So overall, it is from awareness to an actual active opportunity that is what was in the core of the event in Lagos.
And to know Nigerians, we are always out to grabbing opportunities, so I'm sure you would have so many people interested in that. Now, at the event, you also highlighted that the World Bank has made changes to improve its procurement process. What are these changes, and how does it matter for firms interested in bidding for tenders?
You're right, Georgina. We have made changes, and we have made changes to make it easier for companies to participate and to take part in opportunities financed by the World Bank. The changes are probably 3 or 4 which are worthwhile talking about. One is we care about quality. We care about, when we finance projects in countries around the world, we would like those to last. So we place a huge amount of emphasis on quality, and for most international procurements, we require at least 50% of the evaluation to be attributed to quality. So that it's not only the lowest, the cheapest bid wins without ensuring that there is quality. So quality is extremely important. It ensures sustainability, it ensures innovation, it ensures quality at the end of the day. The second big change is we encourage early market engagement. What this means is that for large contracts, for contracts of over 10 million US dollars, we would like to engage with the market in advance so that we can ensure that the latest technology, the latest innovation is actually brought into the contracts at the end of the day. The third big change relates to local employment and local opportunities. These days, we are all about creating jobs and supporting countries where we work in to create jobs, to create opportunities for the local communities, local economy, so that countries can grow, countries can prosper. And in this sense, we require in international contracts that are in the areas of works to have at least 30% of the total labor cost attributed to the local market, which is great. It provides skills to the local population. It also lets them gain experience so that tomorrow they can open their own companies, they can run their
to empower the small businesses.
Absolutely. Yeah, small businesses, large businesses, it is experience. And then perhaps the last change that I want to highlight here, it's about economies of scale. It's about aggregation, because when you aggregate similar products, similar contracts, you actually can be competitive and can bring in the price down. So overall, it's about that rewarding expertise, innovation, reliability, and bringing quality and value for money when we finance projects.
Indeed, quality is really important for sustenance and continued partnership or patronism. All right. All right. So moving to Nigeria specifically, what kind of opportunities exist within the World Bank portfolio for Nigerian firms, and do SMEs really stand a chance, especially against bigger firms?
So I started a little bit on that to give you a sense of the size. So the World Bank has a portfolio, I said, of $16.5 billion under implementation. That means that we have projects in the areas of power, health, education, climate resilience that are there and that are being implemented in today and in the next 4 or 5 years. So there are actual opportunities within these projects for private companies to participate. In addition, the International Finance Corporation, which is part of the World Bank Group and is also here in Nigeria, has additional opportunities for another $1.3 billion for companies in Nigeria as well. But to circle back to the question on SMEs, absolutely SMEs do stand a chance, and Nigerian SMEs do stand a chance. And to give you a sense of track record, for example, we have looked at our statistics and we see that 90% of Nigerian companies that bid actually win local contracts. So this is a pretty significant amount, and 70% of the value also goes to Nigerian firms. So the track record speaks for itself. Companies are competitive. But for small and medium enterprises in particular, working with the World Bank, there is always the experience that they gain. They start small and then they grow. We very much encourage small and medium enterprises to work with joint ventures or to be subcontractors so that they have a little bit of exposure, gain the experience, and then can bid on their own. And also with the quality weighting criteria that I talked about, local expertise, local knowledge of the market, of the environment, is a great advantage to companies. So all of this in combination actually make Nigerian companies quite competitive.
That's great to know. All right, so finally, what is the forward-looking priorities for the World Bank in Nigeria?
So it's my first time in Nigeria,
Oh, wow,
and
welcome.
Thank you very much. And I have been absolutely impressed this past few days by the commitment of the people of Nigeria, of pursuing reforms, of working hard, going for jobs, for growth, and for prosperity. So really delighted to see the dynamism that you have in this country. So we are working currently on a country partnership strategy. Country partnership framework is the way we call it. This is basically our medium-term engagement with Nigeria. And the World Bank country team, led by the country director who sits here in Abuja, and the IFC director who is in Lagos, are the ones that lead on this process. But they engage with the private sector, with the authorities, with the communities, and the areas where we see the biggest potential to create jobs, to create opportunities for growth for Nigeria, have to do with human capital. So we'll continue our engagement in the area of human capital, building human capital in health, in education, in social protection, in early childhood education as well, in the area of building foundational infrastructure, such as connecting people and businesses to electricity. So we have a very large initiative in the World Bank called Mission 300, where the ambition is to connect 300 million people in Africa to electricity by 2030. Nigeria is central to that. Without Nigeria, we would not be able to deliver on this ambition. So this is another very important area for us. And as well, sectors such as agriculture, sectors such as digital economy and connectivity, extremely important for us. Last point here is to recognize that bringing the private sector, mobilizing private capital, will be absolutely fundamental to achieving the objectives of this partnership between the World Bank Group and Nigeria, because we are looking for impact, and we are looking for impact at scale.
I know that the World Bank has embarked upon so many projects in Nigeria, that has ensured development, infrastructure-wise and otherwise, and financially as well. Really grateful that you are here today. But I want to, being your first time in Nigeria, just an outside question: what meal have you eaten?
What meal have I eaten?
Have you tasted the famous jollof rice?
I did. I actually tasted it twice,
okay.
In Lagos, and yesterday in the Ogun province. So
right.
that was
the
state.
Yeah. Right.
So that was really delicious. It tasted different in both places. I don't know what was that about.
We'll get to know later. Thank you so much for
good.
your time, Gallina Vincelette, the Vice President, Operations, Policy and Country Services at the World Bank.